Hi, this is India from OCD Excellence again, and this is our third in a series of videos to support people with OCD to manage during the corona crisis. And in this video, I'd like to talk about contamination OCD and how the corona crisis might impact upon those dealing with this subtype. I'm sure that the media will think that people with contamination OCD are coping really well, given that their OCD behaviours are quite similar to those safeguards recommended by governments and health authorities. But I think the opposite is true. I believe that the current crisis represents a trigger, the possibility of relapse or worsening of OCD, and for those dealing with other subtypes, the opportunity to develop new contamination symptoms. People with OCD tread a tightrope between what they believe is rational and reasonable and what is obsessive and OCD related. Such a crisis as we have now blurs that line and makes the distinction so much more difficult. Not only that, but when triggered, those with OCD can now find justification for carrying out their compulsions, with the result that OCD deteriorates, and for those managing OCD currently, relapse, the possibility of relapsing again. It's hard for others to understand that the urge to carry out a compulsion is like a burning itch. It doesn't ever completely go away, but it can be managed, mainly by consistently not carrying out the compulsions. But as with addictions, one time is too many and 100 is never enough. OCD isn't an addiction, but it has addictive tendencies, so using sanitizing gel again after perhaps not using it for years will be scratching that itch. And those of you managing OCD have trained yourself not to do this. Washing your hands more than a minimum times a day will have the same effect, as will avoiding or opening doors with your foot or using your sleeve to touch things outside the home. No addiction is easy to deal with, but overeating is tough to overcome since we all have to eat. And similarly, OCD is tough to overcome since we all have to think and we need to stay reasonably clean and safe, particularly now. So if you have contamination OCD, what can you do to help yourself? Firstly, follow the guidelines. We aren't advocating that you don't. However, wash your hands when you come in, but not 30 times a day. If you are having trouble stopping at the recommended 20 seconds, set an alarm and do some practice runs when you're not so anxious to help train yourself to stop. Unless there is a member of your household with the virus, you don't need to change your home and car cleaning practices. Try to keep those stable. Avoid touching your face as advised, but don't let this extend to all parts of you. Don't be tempted to keep separate clothes for outside and inside the home, and try not to insist that others shower or change clothes before entering your house. Similarly, you don't need to shower or wash your hair upon getting home, and certainly no more than usual. Once a day or every other day is fine for those managing OCD, and don't increase your laundry load or boil wash your clothes. These are fine at 30 or 40 degrees. This helps the environment, which desperately needs our help, and doesn't ruin your clothes. And it's fine to eat outside your house as we stand presently. If you can, practice some of your exposure behaviour work to target other areas of discomfort. Perhaps expose yourself to feces or dirt by gardening, or tackle that paint job in the spare bedroom if you have chemical-based issues. Work on exposing yourself to contamination triggers other than the virus. There are loads, of course. A friend or family member might be willing to help you, and then you can set a daily program of exposure work during these next few months. Work on discomfort in any way you can. I always say that discomfort may seem different in different situations, but when you work on any one of those, it benefits you and benefits your ability globally to cope with discomfort. So as stated in the other videos, don't neglect your cognitive work. Don't neglect the cognitive side of your CBT and your rational statements and beliefs. Now is a good time to do that. If you haven't tried CBT yet, perhaps start with a self-help book or a video. Practice not catastrophizing and revisit mindfulness. Being at home is a great time to practice mindfulness tasks or meditations. And think about a project for the next few months. Learning a language, tackling some DIY, photography or painting. This is all part of your toolkit to see you through. So good luck. And you can do it. Remember that severe OCD is much worse than the coronavirus, in all likelihood, and much longer lasting. So thank you for listening. and I hope this helps. Please follow OCD Excellence on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be loading more videos up in the coming days, and if you found this one helpful, we'd love to see your comments below. Take care. Bye now.